Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Soaring Higher, How Britenet Helped AerCap Lead the Aviation Leasing Industry. My name is Aneta, and I will be guiding you through this insightful session. So, in the next 45 minutes, we will explore how AerCap, a global leader in aviation leasing, partnered with Britenet to transform IT challenges into opportunities, achieving remarkable growth and efficiency. So, in the beginning, let's take a look at our agenda. We are starting with welcome and introduction part to set the stage for our discussion. Then we will explore AerCap case study, diving deeply into AerCap's IT transformation journey, and of course Britenet's role in it, in delivering tailored solutions to AerCap's needs. After that, we will focus on Britenet perspective to well understand team aspects, challenges, and of course solutions that we provided and their impact on AerCap's business. And in the end, finally, there will be also a chance for all of you to get in touch with our speakers and directly engage with them and asking questions, clarifying, and go deeper into the subject during our Q&A session. So now, very important questions. Who are our speakers? It's my pleasure now to introduce them. I think something was... Okay, now you could see the slide. So, for today we have Jörg Koletzki, Chief Information Officer at Britenet, and Jörg is a global IT leader, and he is truly an expert in the field of transformation and innovation. And hello, Jörg, it's very nice that you are here today with us.
Good morning, Anita, and good morning to everybody else as well. Hello.
Good morning. And of course, our next speaker is Marta Siedlecka, Operational and Experience Design Manager at Britenet. And Marta is specialized in delivering scalable IT solutions, which are, of course, tailored to business needs. Hello, Marta. It's great that you are here with us.
Hello, everybody. It's very nice to be here during this webinar.
And before we dive in, I would like to give you a few practical notes. So first of all, if you will have any question during the presentation, please submit it through the Q&A feature. We can find the activity button in the lower right corner of the screen. And of course, if you will have any question, we will address it during the Q&A session in the end. And secondly, a recording of this webinar will be also available for all of you after the session, so you will receive an email with the link to it. So once again, thank you all for joining us, and let's begin with exploring AerCap's IT transformation journey. So Jörg, the stage is all yours.
Thank you, Anita, and very warm welcome to everybody who's listening to this. We've been working with Britenet for the last 3 years, and they were so kind to ask me if I could tell a little bit about the story. I assume, first of all, that not everybody knows about aircraft leasing and what aircraft leasing is, so I would spend a couple of minutes on that, tell you a little bit about AerCap, where we are in the market, what our part of that supply chain is, and then we'll go into the details of how we did our IT transformation with the support and help of Britenet. First of all, about aircraft leasing. Many people I talked to didn't know this. About half of the commercial fleet, which is somewhere between 23 and 25,000 aircraft, is leased. So airlines do not own their aircraft. They lease them. However, their business model differs from airline to airline. So there are airlines like a Virgin Atlantic, you can see here on the slide, which leases about 80% of their aircraft. Iberia about 79%, and it goes down. British Airways still leases aircraft. Mostly, however, aircraft are leased by those who cannot afford to buy them. These are very expensive assets, and they cost an awful lot to maintain, as well as they're heavily regulated in terms of their maintenance. You can see over the last few years, aircraft leasing has significantly increased in size from 20 years ago, about 4,000 out of 12, so a third of the market, to about 50% of the market today. To go to the next slide, you can see that the future is very bright for aircraft leasing as well. You should know that an aircraft has a lifespan of somewhere between 20 and 25 years. So if we project this forward to the next 20 years, you can see out of the 25,000 aircraft that are in operation today, this number includes the cargo aircraft, we will only have a few thousand left. If we're going to fill this up over the next few years, plus add the projected growth of the airline industry, we will have to replace about and finance about 44,000 aircraft in the next 20 years. This is what we do. We finance aircraft and we deliver them to the airlines for them to fly them and take you, hopefully, to your holiday spot. So where are we in this market? A little bit about AerCap. AerCap is the undisputed leader in this global market. We own about $60 billion of assets and are with that about 2.5 to 3 times as big as our next biggest competitor. There are, however, very large other players in this market. Most of them are either supported by very large banks like SMBC, Sumitomo Bank, BOC Aviation, Bank of China, and you see others there, CDB, for example, the Commercial Central Commercial Bank of China Development Bank. Sorry, that's their proper name. These are the players. There's about, as I said, about half of those aircraft in the market are leased. And if you go to the next slide, you can see our portfolio. We own and manage about 1,700 aircraft. With that, we're the largest owner of aircraft in the world, and we have about 324 aircraft on order. Most of those, and these are the parts of the pie chart, are Boeing and Airbus. About slightly more than 50% Airbus, slightly less than 50% Boeing, and there are some niche players like Embraer and ATR, where we have a few aircraft from them for historic reasons as well. But all of our own order book is based on Boeing and Airbus. So let's go to the next slide. This is our business. We lease aircraft. We also own and lease separately to the aircraft and separately what's on the wings of the aircraft engines. Those are very, very much exchangeable because they need to go to the shops for maintenance. And you can see that in 2024, we did over 800 transactions, over 200 on the engine, nearly 500 aircraft transactions where we leased or transitioned aircraft. We also own about 300 helicopters, mostly for the rescue and oil industries or heavy duty helicopters. And we do lease them, we trade them, we buy them, we sell them. This is our business, and for that, we are a company based in Dublin, Miami, and Singapore as our main offices. And we employ about 600 people in the main business, plus another 100 in a subsidiary that we own, which takes care of the disposal of the aircraft. How did we reach our size? We are a very acquisitive company. In March 21, AerCap announced the acquisition of a GE subsidiary called GECAS, the GE Capital Aviation Services. We paid about $30 billion for their asset base. The deal closed in November 21. And in that period of time, we obviously did a very deep assessment of our similarities and differences in IT structures. AerCap had an IT department of about 25 staff, responsible for all IT requirements, from the data center to the network to the applications. And the strategic principle according to which we run the organization was buy before build and outsource commodity services wherever we can, while we maintain the skill and the knowledge within our business analysts and project manager community in-house. GECAS had a very different model. They had an internal application development team, about 26 staff, and those only focused on a bespoke system environment, which was built purely for the core leasing processes. GE, the mother company, supported them with all other IT requirements. So you have to think of that as if core leasing processes was dealt with within the company. Everything else, from the general ledger to the HR system, the treasury system, the document management system, the laptops, the iPhones, everything was given to them by GE. And the challenge that we faced is to make and create one IT department and one application environment supporting a merged organization twice the size of what we were all used to. That's the challenge. And in order to do that, we faced, a very, very simple additional challenge. AerCap never leased engines and helicopters at that size and scale before. So our systems didn't cater for those kind of business lines. Therefore, we decided we will take that in-house development team from GCAS and their applications into our operations, IT operations, and continue to develop them, which means we have to migrate all the data from our system to theirs, and after that, change the GCAS systems inherently with the GCAS processes in them to the AerCap processes. A monumental task. The in-house team at the time, however, was only set up to maintain the applications, and the Indian offshore team that they used, the GE offshore team, that they also used for projects, was very unresponsive from my perspective. So what was the solution to that? Strategically, we knew we are having a significant amount of work to be done over the next 3 to 5 years. Therefore, we built a European nearshore center with Britenet out of Poland and scaled initially to 20 people within 1 year and 35 within 2 years. And that's what roughly we're running, our run rate is at this point in time. So from user interface design to .NET development, the implementation of a Microsoft Fabric data warehouse, all skill sets were provided by Britenet, while obviously my in-house team provided analysis capability, industry knowledge, and process knowledge to this transformation challenge. If we move on to the next slide, you see there some of the more detailed challenges. The GCAS application suite called App Center and the underlying very large Oracle database, the corporate asset database, had a number of issues for us. Initially, functional gaps, because we were only focused on aircraft leasing before. Our systems were slightly further developed than from a functional perspective than the slightly wider functional reach of the GCAS systems. There was a significant amount of technical debt. Over the last 2 years before the acquisition, there was very little investment into technical upgrades. And also, when you have a very large bespoke environment, you constantly need to update the underlying technical systems, .NET environments, the user interface in particular, as well as underlying databases and intermediate systems. The internal resource constraints were omnipresent. The small in-house development team of about 20 developers and a few project managers, although they had a very detailed knowledge about their applications, they just didn't have the reach and the scope to implement all of those new processes that we needed to implement and upgrade the systems at the same time. And as you will often find in homegrown applications, it looked very aged. The user interface was little intuitive, grown over the last 15 years, and in different parts of the application set. In total, there's about 40 applications in this environment, in part significantly older than what was healthy. So what did we do? We developed a architectural framework. We needed to understand, which applications had what status. We created a new version of the latest and greatest, together with Britenet and in particular Marta's team here, development library for building new user interfaces. The UX design was very important to us, because when you deliver new applications to the business, and the first impression really counts. The first impression really is what you see on the screen. They can some of the applications I've seen in my career had fantastic applications and features. They just weren't accepted by the end user. We wanted to avoid that. That was important to us. We did start the application, upgrade process. We developed a target architecture. We had to integrate this. At the same time as we did this program of work, we implemented a new general ledger and amalgamated 2 Salesforce platforms as well. So integrations with, in particular, the front office on Salesforce was particularly important to us, so that we have one version of the truth. And now at this point in time, we're very well advanced in terms of creating these new processes within the applications. We're looking at supporting those applications for the future. And we're also preparing for one other thing, because as much as we can differ between AerCap and GCAS, we also had 2 different clouds. We still have 2 different clouds. The GCAS systems were in the Amazon cloud, while AerCap was mostly in the Azure cloud. So what we're preparing at the moment is to move everything into one cloud environment. Not so much because one is better than the other, simply because a small team like ours can't keep up with 2 technologies at the same time and compete internally for what is the right cloud. My perspective, there's no right or wrong. We just have to decide for one. So let's go on the applications. What was important to us? Nearshore services and lessons learned from me are a very serious alternative to offshore. As I said at the beginning of my presentation, we had, and GE had an offshore service from India. Very little responsiveness, and also culturally and from a time perspective, the differences were very significant. We are a company that makes decisions quickly and implements them, and we do not want to wait for partners to be responsive when they can be. So what we needed to do, we needed to find a partner that is big enough for us to deliver and small enough to care about us. From a financial perspective, we're a very large company. From a people perspective, we're a very small company. As I said, currently about 50 people in IT and 700 people in the company. So from that perspective, Britenet involved themselves in a selection process. We went to market, and they approached us in a very different, in a slightly different way to other companies. From that perspective, the selection process that we went through was incredibly well organized by Britenet. We did site visits, we met the people in Britenet, and the lesson learned for my team was this: we need to be proactive and involve my team, and if you want to do this in your team, in the selection process for your partners. It takes 6 to 12 weeks to get the right people onboarded. Doesn't matter whether it's in India or in Poland. It will take time to get the right people onboarded. And my lesson learned from our engagement here is to be prepared to take that time to get your team up and running. Also, you need to prepare yourself to invest in that relationship. I have a person, not a fully dedicated person, but they spend a significant amount of their time doing that relationship management. And with that, I don't mean just relationship management. We have people that start new. We have people that leave projects. We have changes in projects. We have quarterly reviews, annual reviews, All of this needs to be managed and supported. And do not assume that everything is done by your partner, because you need to do this yourself as well. And hence be prepared to invest into a nearshore manager in your team. The last but not the least important, during the last 3 years, we put a lot of emphasis on traveling. And that is possible because it's nearshore. And the result of it is a significant increase in efficiency and effectiveness. So when we start a new project, we get the teams together. When we review halfway through a project where we stand and what the plans are for the other half or the next part of the project, we get together. It builds relationships, it makes development easier, and it brings that short communication line for when there are issues, and there are always issues in technical projects, but when there are issues, people come together, work together, and solve those issues far better than when you are on a remote line to somewhere. Those are my lessons learned. Do we have another slide, Anita? No, that's it.
No.
I have an awful lot of respect for Britenet. Marta and my team have worked together. Marta is an excellent UX designer with her team, obviously, and I can only reassure you what we've got has found the greatest and most positive feedback from our business community. They wait for the next release.
Thank you very much, Jörg, for giving us the better understanding of AerCap's business, but also of the history of your company and of the challenges that you met. Thank you for all of that, because it's much better for us now to understand the second part, which will be, of course, presentation of Marta that you already mentioned, and focus on Britenet perspective and challenges, solutions, and of course, team aspects. So Marta, the stage is yours now.
Thank you very much, Aneta. I think you can go to the next slide. I think that the best thing for me to start is to create some kind of context, because we as Britenet decided some time ago that we don't only want to be a body leasing company. We wanted to create something more, something else. And I think that our cooperation with AerCap is the tip of the cake, what we achieved. Because we wanted to create a team of people that will be dedicated to the client, to our partner, the team that will be having a lot of domain knowledge, and the team that will have reduced amount of rotation. And I really believe that we achieved that with AerCap, and I'm very happy that we achieved that. And how we achieved that? Our team is, of course, the technology team, but apart from it, we also have a delivery team. And the delivery team contains of a site manager, who is a person who takes care of our people from the technical and project point of view, and the HR business partner, who, of course, is taking care of our people from the HR perspective. And I can fairly say that this works. And when I talk with people, they are usually very happy with the type of work that we are doing from the Britenet perspective. And the technology team is the heart of our team, obviously. And we have expert domain knowledge. The onboarding process takes, as Jörg said, a bit of time. But I believe it is worth it. And it also reduces the rotation, as I said in the very beginning. We have knowledge transfer, obviously, when the rotation happens, because it happens and we try to avoid it, but sometimes it can't be avoided. And we have the very detailed process of knowledge transfer. And I can also say that we have technology leaders within our technology teams. So it also helps us to manage the people who are working within the various projects. and I think that those various projects are our main challenge. And I believe that we can go to the next slide. Okay, so the challenges. AerCap is not a monolith system. They are rather numerous, complex systems. A lot of business processes, as I understand it, and a lot of product owners, a lot of project managers. Systems differ from back office to even their internal e-commerce. So our experts need to be educated in various types of technologies and ways to support AerCap needs. This is why our, let's say, hiring process and education process is also well thought through. This is why we are really dedicated to build the team and to maintain a team so that they are working in a very close collaboration within themselves, but also with our client, our partner. And while we were working with AerCap, as Jörg said, for the last 3 years, I think that the percentage of rotation and the changes in the team was very little. I think that I can say that our team within AerCap is only growing, because I would say we started with 20 people, now it's around 35, I believe. And you can obviously see that the team is growing. And due to the merger that Jörg also mentioned, we had to deal with various types of interfaces and tech engines. And our solution to this challenge, Aneta, I think you can switch to the next slide. Thank you very much. I can say that our solution, apart from creating the dedicated team and our approach to a partnership with AerCap, was to create processes from the very scratch, with obvious collaboration with the AerCap side. And speaking from my team's perspective, I am mostly engaged with the UX UI team and front-end development team. We created one custom design system based on React Prime components. And this approach, I think, enabled us to work efficiently, because we are not creating any very custom components. This made our work much faster, much more effective, and I can say that it is probably visible within AerCap's project managers, because I receive very positive feedback that the systems and the business requirements are they are implemented in a very fast and efficient way. Apart from it, we needed to rewrite the code, the legacy code, to a newer tech stack. And also, as Jörg said, I might be repeating some of his insights. We decided to go with React, and it also very much enabled us to create our solutions in a much more efficient way. Again, I will be speaking from my personal experience with the AerCap team and my UX team. We are providing UX-driven implementation process. And this is a bit funny, I think, because I remember one of the first meetings with AerCap that we had face-to-face, and they were pretty much not very interested in UX. And we were able to convince Jörg and other people of his team that UX approach is a good way to start a project, because we, as a UX UI team, we work closely with business analysts and project managers to gather business requirements, do the workshops, and then we also help create the whole roadmap of the business applications to grow. So we also have a very user-centered mindset because we are talking to project managers, to business analysts, who will be using this particular system, who will be using that particular system. And we are very focused on creating interfaces and experiences for those people to be happy with the interface that they are using. And also, I might be repeating what Jörg mentioned, but I think this is the absolutely utmost important thing within our partnership, that we are having regular business workshops and we are meeting face-to-face, because maintaining a very close business relationship is very crucial for us. And we also see a lot of advantages when we are working in close collaboration, traveling to AerCap's headquarters, and when we are having them in our offices. Those workshops show that we can create a very close relationship, and we have better understanding of our needs, mutual needs. So I would say that regardless of business model, is it nearshoring, offshoring, you name it, I think that this kind of business relationship, the way of creating business relationship that we as Britenet provide, is the most important thing to create a very successful partnership. And I think, Aneta, that would be all from my side.
Thank you very much, Marta, because now I believe we have a full picture of this cooperation between Britenet and AerCap. You both emphasize very strongly the importance of well-chosen and well-managed and the team that is there. So it's a very important aspect, and thank you very much for that. And as promised in the beginning, now we have a Q&A session. So if our participants have any question to ask, you would like to clarify something, maybe ask about some details that were not mentioned here, or maybe go deeper into the subject or something that was already mentioned, be our guest. So we will still wait for the questions because we have some time. But in the meantime, I would like to ask Jörg, because when you were describing the selection process, we could see that AerCap was very well prepared because you were aware of the situation that you are in, of challenges that you are facing, and also of the expectations that you have to your potential partner. So I would like to ask you, what, in your opinion, was for you the real deal maker in that cooperation with Britenet that you decide to go for that?
Yes, listen, one thing I need to add here, this is not the first time I take an IT organization to a near or offshore environment. I have done this twice before with two different companies. And from my experience, obviously, I understand and I can relate the strategic and the implementation requirements that we have to the partner that I believe we need. Yeah. So when we started this process, we had 5 or 6 different companies around the EU. It was important for us to be close and within the GDPR environment of the European Union. So the differentiator that AerCap brought to the table was, first of all, openness. We asked questions, and all of my team had the impression they got an honest answer. Secondly, when we visited Britenet's offices in Poland, we were able to have a tour through the offices, and I would recommend everybody to do that, because there's one thing to see things on a PowerPoint, and there's another one to go to another company's office and talk to the people. Again, the openness allowed us to go in and have conversations with people that work for other clients. And most impressive, I found personally, we were allowed to go into the scheduling office. The scheduling office at the time was an office of a couple of people where resources were scheduled, and you could see how Britenet, in a very professional manner, said, we do not assume that everybody is always at a client. We have people that are on holiday, people that we need to schedule education for, so to get them and keep them up to scratch with their skill set. And we have people that obviously are at our customers' offices and or in ours and work for our customers. And that again showed me the professionalism that Britenet chose. Price in the end was not a determining factor, but this overall impression, you know, that we took away from that engagement was.
Okay, thank you very much. It seems like the openness that you mentioned and the honesty, it's a really important factor in business relationships as well. So it's very, very important, and it's also in line what you emphasized, that this was so crucial for AerCap, but also for Britenet to have the team that will answer to those needs. In the end, in the business, is also about people, right? So maybe Marta, going deeply into the topic of team and team challenges, how did you make sure that AerCap's team and Britenet teams are aligned?
Well, actually, it was a process. It was a process that took around, I can say, about 1.5 to 2 months, because we needed very much to get to know our partners, the people working on AerCap side. We had a lot of meetings. And when we are starting this kind of collaboration, it is usually very difficult to understand the business needs. And of course, the main discussions and the business part was the thing that was taking place on, let's say, manager level, C-level. But for our people, for our team, it was crucial to understand the complexity of what AerCap needs. And I believe that having those meetings on site, because, you know, we are living now in a digital world when we usually work online, but it was very important for us to not work online in this case, because we wanted to avoid misunderstanding. This partnership was very important for us. And we decided that we want to take a different approach and go with the workshops, go with the meetings, go with the knowledge transfer. We decided just to put more human factor to this business. I know it's about business, but I want to impact the human factor.
Thank you very much. Okay, so because we are slowly running out of the time, but we still have around 5 minutes. By the end of our meeting, I would like you to ask. I would like to ask you to give us the most important lesson learned that you have. Jörg mentioned already a few lessons learned that he had due to this cooperation with us. But as we cooperate with each other for a while, probably you learned a lot. So just as a summary of our today's meeting, can you both share with us like a 1 sentence or 2 sentences about the crucial lesson learned that you get from this cooperation between AerCap and Britenet? Jörg, you can start, please.
Okay, so the lesson learned, or the lesson reconfirmed for me, is something that I experienced many times over the course of my career. The IT is often considered to be technology. Technology is important, but there is no implementation without people. People are the most important bit. Build that relationship, build that knowledge about who you're dealing with and what they do and what their preferences are, maybe also, and build them into your success story and take them with you. That's the most important. There is no implementation of technology without people.
Thank you. I completely agree with you, Jörg. And Marta, what would be your lesson learned as a summary of today's meeting?
I wanted to say something different, but I would say something that will go in line with what Jörg said. Lately, I had this meeting regarding some, this is a project, and we also face some challenges issues that we need to solve. And lately, I've been involved in some project difficulty, and it was mainly about misunderstanding. And as Jörg already mentioned, IT is about people as well. I think mostly about people. And the key to the success that I can obviously see within Britenet and AerCap is creating a good way of communication, because we don't want to be people that are thrown some tasks at. We want to create stable, good communication. And when we establish it, it is a key to the future success. So I would say that my lessons learned is to create not only Jira, not only meetings, not only one-on-ones, but also the way of how we want to communicate within our teams and with our clients.
And thank you very much, Marta. I believe those tips that you shared with us, those lessons that you learned during the cooperation between Britenet and AerCap can be useful for all of us. So thank you for that. And as we are slowly approaching the end of our time, I would really like to thank our speakers for their presentations. And also, I would like to thank all our participants for being today with us on this meeting during this webinar. And once again, I would like to remind you that the recording of today's session will be sent to you in the coming days. So thank you all and have a great day. And I believe that we'll see each other next time. Thank you very much.